A desperate struggle for a child's custody that ended with death.
Good morning and welcome to Live at 11, everyone. I'm Teresa Rodriguez, and today we are going to learn how to cook Caribbean style.
Sounds good to me.
There is a new cookbook that turns island dishes into familiar fare.
And I'm Bob Mayer. The best part of living in South Florida is that all the ingredients for that cooking are available right here in most of our supermarkets.
We're going to find out why South Florida is the consumer fraud capital of the nation and how you can protect yourself from some of the newer scams. Janice Lieberman, consumer investigator for CNBC, will be here to tell us.
We will talk with big brothers and big sisters about how they help young people round out their social lives and how we can help too.
And we'll learn the very latest treatments for hemorrhoids. It's not a pleasant subject, but a problem that affects thousands of people.
We will meet Maria Esplund of North Miami. She is our midweek makeover candidate today.
And this is what Maria looked like about an hour or so ago. She told us she wants to look older than this, believe it or not. And she is at Salona Rouge right now, where Tamara and her folks are trying to make that happen.
She'll be back at the end of the program, and one thing is for sure, she will be older, at least by 2 hours.
Couple of hours. Anyway, we're looking forward to see that as well. So we have a packed morning. We also have some news happening this morning.
Yeah, lots of stuff
happening.
Well, also remember, if you stay out in the sun, you're going to look older too.
That's true.
That really wrinkles your skin. So not too much sun today, folks. So let's take a look at that forecast and see what's going on. If you want to make your plans for today, it's going to be a pretty nice day. You'll find the temperature getting up to about 90 degrees. And just as it says there, if you're going out in the sun, don't forget to use the sunscreen. The seas today will be just about 2 feet. Ideal boating conditions. The winds are light and variable, but when the sea breeze kicks in, they'll be out of the east and southeast at about 10 miles per hour, and that's just about it. The low temperature tonight will be about 70 degrees, but yesterday we got up to about 91, and we'll get about 90 degrees again today. So enjoy the day. Just be a little bit careful when you go out. Not too much in the way of showers today, and we'll look at the entire week a little later on.
All right. Thank you, Bob.
Well, that is the weather. Now the news. And before we go to the newsroom for an update of the day's events, this breaking story just into Channel 4 News. Congressman Dante Fascell has called a news conference for this afternoon, and we are told he will announce he is retiring from office, that he is choosing not to run for re-election after the courts moved most of his district to Broward County.
Now, one of the most powerful members in the House of Representatives, he apparently is stepping down after a long and illustrious career. We have reporters gathering details right now, and we will have a full report on the imminent retirement of Representative Dante Fascell at noon.
Now it's time to check in with Susan Lichtman in our Miami newsroom with the rest of the news. Susan?
Good morning, Susan.
Good morning. Dante Fascell, by the way, has been in Congress for 38 years, if you can believe it. Looking at the stories making news right now, the ousted leader of Haiti drumming up support in South Florida today. Jean-Bertrand Aristide arrived in Palm Beach last night for 3 days of speeches and rallies. At his first appearance, he criticized President Bush and the Organization of American States for not enforcing an economic embargo against Haiti. First Lady Barbara Bush spent the evening in South Florida as well. She arrived last night to attend a fundraiser on Miami Beach. Along with Senator Connie Mack, Mrs. Bush was the recipient of the Republican Party's National Statesman Award. Voters in Arkansas and Kentucky helped Democratic presidential candidate Bill Clinton edge closer to clinching the nomination. After casting his ballot in Little Rock Tuesday morning, he flew to Ohio to campaign for next week's contest there. President Bush claimed victory in Arkansas's Republican primary. Both Mr. Bush and Clinton also scored wins in Tuesday's Kentucky and Idaho primaries. Of concern to both candidates, however, was the extremely large number of uncommitted votes. A follow-up now to a story we have been reporting for the last few weeks. 11 days ago, security guard Guillermo Almeida was shot by a would-be robber in the Lauderhill Mall. Police say they now know the identity of the dead man. He is a Jamaican citizen whose name is being withheld until his family can be notified. Almeida was released from the hospital yesterday. Deliberations continue this morning in the murder, racketeering, and conspiracy trial of Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Since they began Saturday, jurors have sent the judge numerous notes saying they could not reach a verdict because they were confused by the law. A Channel 4 News crew is at the federal courthouse in Fort Lauderdale. We will bring you any new developments as soon as they happen. And finally, the creators of a unique sculpture are taking the Buy American message to heart. This Nebraska structure, known as Carhenge, is modeled after England's Stonehenge with 16 cars instead of stones. But when it was built in 1987, 3 Japanese cars were used. Well, now its maker is replacing at least one with an American car. 100 volunteers will add a Cadillac to the structure during the Summer Solstice Festival on June 20th. I don't know, Bob. I think perhaps we ought to donate one of your collectible cars to Carhenge, don't you think?
I don't know. The Japanese might buy the whole thing after it's all finished. All right, thank you, Susan. Well, do you have a big brother or big sister, someone who, when you were little, helped with your homework, someone you looked up to? Not everyone does, and that's why Big Brother, Big Sister organization is so important. It provides companionship to kids in need. Joining us live at 11 this morning is the executive director of Big Brothers Big Sisters, Johanna Fusco, and Lee Kaplan, a big brother, and his little brother, Adam Lackman. Welcome, Lee. Welcome to all of you. Why did you decide to get involved in this?
I decided to get involved about 4 or 5 years ago, and I saw a piece on the television, like a show like this, and it talked about Big Brothers and the need for single kids that come from basically single-parent homes, the need for companionship, role models, male role models in the Big Brothers case, and that really excited me.
Well, were you lacking that when you were a kid? Did you have a big brother?
Yes, I was.
You were?
Well, I came from a family, my mother and father were together. I have a brother and 2 sisters, but my father constantly worked and really didn't spend a whole lot of quality time with me, and I guess when I saw this piece on Big Brothers, kind of hit a nerve with me.
A chance to make it up with someone else
for
what you were lacking. Adam, how does it feel to have a big brother?
Well, it's good because, 4 years ago, my parents were divorced, and I didn't have, a male influence around the house to play sports or do anything. So I guess this is, I could play sports with him and go fishing and go places that I can't do with my mother.
Yeah, well, tell me some of the things you do and how often you do them. What do you like to do best with him?
Well, I like to do best, go fishing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where do you go?
Sometimes the lake by his house, and once we went to the Cypress Creek Canal, but we go fishing pretty much behind his house, but sometimes at my house.
Who puts the worms on the hook?
We don't really use live bait.
Okay.
It's just hot dogs usually.
Really?
Hot dogs
that
work.
catches them?
Largemouth bass.
All right, not bad. Well, what does it take in terms of hours for someone to invest themselves in this project?
What we ask is a volunteer spend 3 to 5 hours a week with the child. So, and we ask for a year's commitment because so many of these children have had inconsistencies in relationships with adults. So a 1-year commitment at least.
So at the
gives
very
them a
least,
chance.
you don't want to have something start and break up again before something's established.
Exactly.
What about funding? Where does that come from?
We have, we get less than 25% of our funding from United Way, and all the rest we raise in fundraisers, and one of them's coming up, in fact, a celebrity cook-off at Marriott Harbor Beach Canoco Steakhouse next Monday. And so that is one of the ways, and we hope to raise about $18,000 to $20,000 there. And we have Taste of Fort Lauderdale and Bowl for Kids' Sake, which we just finished. So we have to raise a good 75% of our money.
When you get into this, when you decide you want to volunteer, what kind of choice do you have as to which direction, what child, what age group? I mean, how much of that is your choice?
Well, I think a lot of it is Big Brothers has social workers, and they know the child's background and my background, likes and interest, and then they match us up, and they have a preliminary meeting. First, I meet the parents, the parent, and she has to approve me. And then we have a preliminary meeting with the child, and the first 90 days is like a probationary type situation, and then you're matched permanently.
How many kids right now in your area are in need of a big brother or a big sister?
Well, we have, the statistics are hard to find, but in Broward County there's more than 60,000 children in single-parent families. All of those don't need, so we'd say maybe 20, let's say 20%, that's 12,000, and we match 150. So there's
so you need a lot of volunteers.
We need a lot of volunteers and a lot of funding.
There's no possibility of too many people calling up.
Exactly. Except we need like one social worker for every 50 what we call matches. So we could have all the volunteers in the world, but unless we have the funds to have the professional staff of social workers to screen our volunteers and our children.
Okay, if I'm a mom without a husband and I want a male influence in my house, how do I go about with all these people needing it, how do I go? What's the first thing I do?
Well, you would call Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we take an application, we find out about the child, we find out about the family environment. And for a little boy right now, we have at least a 2-year wait.
Really?
Because it's not like we have a place that they can go and play basketball or whatever. It's not like we have a facility. We have people. This is our resource, and we want to make sure the match works. So we need to wait sometimes for someone that will go in the geographic area and with a similar interest. So it's very important, the matching process, because it's not good to disappoint these kids anymore and say, hey, we've got this big brother, but it won't work. I mean...
All right, Joanna Fusco, Lee Kaplan, Adam Lackman, thank you all for joining us today on Live at 11. Now, if you're interested in becoming a big brother or a big sister, here are the numbers you can call. In Dade County, 441-9354. In Broward, 485-3481. Thanks again, everybody, and good luck. Still to come, Live at 11, it is an unpleasant subject, but hemorrhoids cause lots of people lots of discomfort. Dr. Kim Crawford has some tips for relief in our health segment. And Teresa talks with a South Florida dancer about his career and what's happening in the world of modern dance in this area. Stay right there.
What does it take to be the world's most popular musical? It takes a cast of extraordinary characters, caught up in the hope and glory of an unforgettable story. It takes heart-stopping music, soul-stirring passion, and the triumph of the human spirit. But mostly, it takes the love of people everywhere, the people who come to see it again and again. Les Miserables.
Coming to the Broward Center for the Performing Arts, June 2nd through the 13th. Tickets on sale now.
Who makes the world's greatest hamburger?
We interrupt this commercial to make this important announcement. Fuddruckers presents the Fuddrucker Value Combo. Get the world's greatest 1/2 pound hamburger. Make it the way you want it, along with fries and large soft drink with free refills for only $4.99 for a limited time only. So hurry. We now return you to our regularly scheduled commercial in progress.
Who makes the world's greatest hamburgers?
Fuddruckers.
Fuddruckers and you.
Fuddruckers.
On the surface, Florida's air looks pretty clear. Sorry to burst your bubble. Have your vehicle inspected. And together, let's clear the air. As more polluting vehicles crowd Florida's highways, the pollution in our air grows thicker and thicker until we run out of clean air. Have your vehicle inspected, and together, let's clear the air.
Did you know that an estimated 1,200 people will die from leukemia this year in Florida alone? I'm Ileana Bravo. Channel 4 invites corporations and individuals to help find a cure for leukemia by dressing down for a day. Participate and you'll receive one of these buttons. Wear it on June 12th and show your support for this worthy cause. Call these numbers and become a sponsor.
Friday Night Live is back. Channel 4 wants you to grab your beach blankets and come out to South Point Park. This week, the music of Lennon and McCartney. Get back.
Americans spend millions of dollars each year on products to treat hemorrhoids. $82 million alone on the best-selling ointment, Preparation H. But as Dr. Kim Crawford explains, the Food and Drug Administration has its doubts whether some of these products really work. Let's watch.
I couldn't sit down, I couldn't walk, because even walking caused this pressure to be really uncomfortable.
Is it tender or painful when you move your bowels?
Yes, very.
According to gastroenterologist Dr. Sidney Niemark, patients like Jane Doe want relief, and they often go looking for it at their local pharmacy. Here you can find an assortment of products with so-called active ingredients, which promise to bring relief. But the Food and Drug Administration recently challenged the makers of these active ingredients in a letter to the manufacturers of Preparation H, which said, studies do not contain data to support the claim concerning shrinking the swelling of hemorrhoidal tissue.
The over-the-counter medications have never really been shown to decrease the duration of symptoms or really improve the symptoms dramatically.
And some products, such as Tux Towelettes, can cause dryness and worsening of symptoms.
My hemorrhoids hurt so much, I was afraid I needed surgery.
Experts say multi-million-dollar advertising campaigns are responsible for the widespread use of these products. What does work?
Increasing the bulk in their stool, using stool softeners, using a lubricant like Vaseline to lubricate the anal canal area.
Yes, Vaseline, at a fraction of the cost, probably works as well as all of these products. Prescription creams containing cortisone may also be helpful. But the first step in treatment is the easiest and cheapest. Rest, use proper hygiene, and take a cool bath. Dr. Kim Crawford for NBC News.
Well, it's your turn.
It's my turn.
Yeah, you know, you've got the best job in the world.
I do.
When the summertime comes here, we have the most beautiful weather in the country.
Have gorgeous weather.
And it's pretty much the same every day.
Well, it's really not. Because as we get into this time of year, this is the most difficult time of year, because what happens this time of year, you get these little infinitesimal systems that begin to develop to the south that you can't see, they're not on the map, and all of a sudden they generate heavy showers, thunderstorms, almost out of nowhere. And usually if you're up north, you see everything works. The westerlies are still up there, so all the systems come by. If it's in Chicago today, it'll be in New York tomorrow. That doesn't happen here. Right. So it's really difficult. It's not as easy as it looks. Let's take a look, first of all, at what's happening all over the country. As we mentioned, up through the north, there you see around New York and Pennsylvania and New Jersey. The area now is beginning to move out, but they're still going to have a little bit of residual weather. It's going to be a little cloudy and a little drizzly, and it is cool up there. This morning, for example, Chicago had a temperature of about 35 degrees, so it's still been very, very cool. And in some of those cool areas, the crops are beginning to feel it and may be damaged a little bit. Generally, for our forecast for the entire week, it's going to be partly sunny and warm unless we have another little generation to the south. But in the meantime, it looks like the showers now are going to be during the afternoon, the early evening, starting tomorrow and right through Sunday. So it's not going to be too bad. You'll have sunshine, but it is going to be hot, folks. About 90 degrees. Ooh. Yesterday it was 91 here. And the humidity is going to come up also a little bit, so it's not going to feel quite as comfortable. And that's about it.
All right. Thank you, Robert.
Wish I had better news for you.
That's not bad.
But that's not bad at all.
Not at all. That's sort of what happens, though, this time of the year.
Yeah, we're getting into that time, and that's why people come down here, to get the sunshine.
We go indoors and try to stay in the air conditioning. They go out.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Well, coming up next, dancer Frederick Bratcher tells us about the world of modern dance.
And we go traveling south of the border to bring back some Caribbean cooking. The kind that's easy here because we've got all the ingredients. Stay with us.
For Caribbean.
You could use a crystal ball, although reliability is questionable. Tea leaves, there's an idea. A little messy though, huh? Your horoscope, good thinking. Let's see, a domestic tranquility upset by surprise addition. Unfortunately, these things can be misleading.
Floyd, my mother's coming to stay with us.
When your number's up, there's only one way to make sure you'll be the first to know. The Lotto Drawing. Live, Saturday nights at 11, only on Channel 4.
With our kids grown, Mary and I felt settled and thought we'd made the last of our major decisions.
Then we heard about Florida Mortuary's pre-need program and realized we hadn't even discussed one of our most important decisions.
The last thing I would want for Mary is to have to make arrangements for me in such a difficult time. So we made an appointment at Florida Mortuary.
They made us feel confident in our decision to have them handle our needs.
Florida Mortuary's pre-need program. Because you care.
Todd had a crush on Missy, the girl next door, but he showed it in the strangest way. He stepped out on his front porch wearing only his birthday suit.
I could tell he was naked.
Missy knew just what to do. Her mom had won on America's Funniest Home Videos, so she got her video camera and got Todd's love pose on tape. Then she called police. Missy had caught him with his pants down. The Naked Romeo on Hard Copy.
Hard Copy, 4:30 on Channel 4. After now, it can be told with Geraldo Rivera.
Before I met Detective Hernandez, I was heading towards a life of crime. He took a special interest in me, helped me with my schoolwork, and found me a job. He treated me like a son. He turned my life around.
A Metro-Dade police officer for 15 years, Bill Hernandez's interest in Junior is one aspect of his dedication to our community. Bill Hernandez, beyond the call of duty.
One of South Florida's premier modern dance companies is Frederick Bratcher and Company. Now, it started more than 12 years ago, and the organization has attracted a multi-ethnic troupe of top dancers. Well, joining us this morning is Frederick Bratcher, and welcome to Live at 11.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
Let me ask you how you got started, and then we'll talk about the company.
Okay. Well, I got started as a performer by way of acting. And I got involved in musical theater, and from there I gravitated towards the actual dancing, taking dance classes. This was in California, San Francisco. And from there, I always had my goal was to dance for Alvin Ailey's company. And so I studied hard and, moved to New York and danced for his company for several years. And from there I went to the Martha Graham Dance Company and then ended up in Miami, yes.
Yeah. And then how did you, when you arrived here, is that when you decided you wanted to open up a dance company here?
No, I came to Miami to dance for Fusion Dance Company, which folded about in 1980, which was just on the verge.
Been that long, my God.
Just on the verge of becoming a major, a nationally known dance company. And when that company folded, it was either leave Miami. A lot of dancers begged me to stay and, talked me into forming my own dance company, and the rest is history.
And you have how many dancers now, about 10?
Right now I have 10 dancers, yes.
You brought along some video, so why don't we take a look? Let's look at Bluette, which is Duke Ellington's music. Here we go. And if you can look at that monitor, you can tell us what we're looking at.
Okay, this is a performance that we did about 2 years ago. It opens with 4 males, and then a little bit later on, the women make their entrance into the foray. These guys are pretty energetic.
I was going to say, the rehearsal time, I mean, the practice, it must be, you must be in great shape, and on top of that, have great discipline in order to be in this shape and remember all the steps and the moves. Huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a very active sport or, art form, so you're practicing pretty much all day long. Yes. But my group, I try to keep their hours to a minimum. We work about 3 days a week for a few hours.
How do you choose your dancers? It's got to be tough.
Yeah, now that is a tough one. I don't like to have people audition for me because, someone, you can see them for the first time and they can look good and not quite work out. So I like to work with people for several months. Some people I've worked with for a year or two until I thought that they were ready.
Really? And the majority of the people that come to you are aspiring to go on to Broadway and
I lose a lot of dancers.
Really? Well, that speaks very highly of you. Yes. Then you've got dancers, and you told me earlier you have dancers all over the world right now.
Yes, I do. I have dancers dancing for Alvin Ailey, Paul Taylor, Jose Limon.
Wonderful.
You name it. Yes.
Wonderful. You have another piece of video here that we'd like to show. This is a second. Here we go. If you can look at this and you can let us know what it is we're looking at.
Yes, this was on the same program. This piece is entitled Praise Be to God, and it opens on the floor. And what you're seeing now is my impression of, the daily prayer, offering your prayers up to God.
What inspires you when you create something like this?
What inspires me? Well, I draw my inspiration from anything. I mean, who knows? Maybe next year I might come up with a piece surrounding this interview. Who knows?
Be interesting. I don't know that I would want to watch it. I've got to ask you this. You have an upcoming performance. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll let folks know where they can purchase the tickets so they can go see you and the dance company.
Yes, we're going to be performing at Gusman Center for the Performing Arts June 6th and 7th, which is a major step for us.
Sure.
And I really appreciate being on the program, getting the word out. On that program, we're going to be premiering a new piece, The Rite of Spring, Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, and it's choreographed with the in a jazz idiom,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes place in an office environment.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
And you also have another one, Capistrano, that we're talking about.
Capistrano, we're reprising Capistrano. It's one of the first pieces I choreographed when I came to Miami. And the third piece is Any Which Way You Can. Yes.
So looking forward to that. I'm sure you're excited.
Very.
All right. Well, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us this
Well,
morning, Frederick Bratcher. And the performances are next weekend, Saturday, June 6th at 8 p.m. and Sunday, June 7th at 7 p.m. at Gusman Center. The address is 174 East Flagler Street. Now, for more information, you can call 460-3192 in Dade County, and in Broward, the number is 537-3728. Now, tickets are still available, right?
Yes.
Okay, and they are available through Ticketmaster or, of course, at the Gusman box office. We wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
Right. Well, that's only the first half of Live at 11, but coming up, we expect Maria Asplund of North Miami back here with a whole new look. You want to compare the before and after with us when Live at 11 comes right back.
If you want to get something done, you've got to do it yourself. So when I first heard about Rogaine with minoxidil, I got the whole story myself. You know, it's something a lot of women will want to know about. If you're one of them, here's what you have to do. Call 1-800-873-2100. When you call, Upjohn will send you an informative video that will answer your questions about Rogaine. And because only a doctor can prescribe Rogaine, they'll also offer you a list of doctors in your area who can tell you if Rogaine is right for you. They'll even send you a certificate worth $10 as an incentive to see a doctor. So get the story about Rogaine with minoxidil yourself. Call 1-800-873-2100 for your free informative video, list of doctors, and $10 certificate. Make the call now.
An unhappy mother, a devoted father. A Current Affair brings you the startling story of two parents trapped in a desperate, violent struggle over custody of their baby girl. The good, the dad, and the ugly.
A Current Affair on Channel 4 at 7 after NBC Nightly News.
Did you know that an estimated 1,200 people will die from leukemia this year in Florida alone? I'm Ileana Bravo. Channel 4 invites corporations and individuals to help find a cure for leukemia by dressing down for a day. Participate and you'll receive one of these buttons. Wear it on June 12th and show your support for this worthy cause. Call these numbers and become a sponsor.
Friday Night Live is back. Channel 4 wants you to grab your beach blankets and come out to South Point Park. This week, the music of Lennon and McCartney. Get back.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the second half hour of Live at 11. We're going to look at what's new on video for your weekend viewing. Some of those big Christmas movies you didn't go to, well, you didn't go to in theaters or in your video store this week.
And we're also going to talk with Janice Lieberman of CNBC. Now, she is in South Florida investigating consumer scams because, believe it or not, we are such fertile ground for them. That means that we can all be victims. So, unfortunately, she's here on an assignment that is not really unfortunate. But we're going to ask her for some tips to avoid consumer fraud.
And we'll meet the peppers from hell, as our guest calls them. Some of the flavorful things that can use to spice up your recipes with a Caribbean beat.
But the midpoint of Live at 11 also means time for another update of today's top stories. And if you have a son or grandson who's blonde and cute, get a pen and paper ready. Susan is going to give you an address you'll want to write down. And, of course, what grandson is not cute?
Right.
Okay. So let's go to Susan in our Miami newsroom with the rest of the news. Susan?
Blondo. Blondo is the key here, and I'll tell you about it in just a moment. Good morning again, everyone. Topping our news, the 38-year, the congressional career of South Florida Congressman Dante Fascell may be coming to an end. Channel 4 News has learned that a news conference called by Fascell this afternoon, he will announce his decision not to campaign for a 20th term. Chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and one of the most powerful members of Congress, Fascell was reportedly shocked to find a large section of his district moved to Broward County when district lines were redrawn last week. South Floridians will remember him for the huge Labor Day picnics that he threw every year as a thank you to voters. We're following this story closely. We will have more details on the Channel 4 News at noon. Miami police trying to track down the owner of a home where two elderly men were held as virtual hostages. The victims were discovered when one was able to escape through a broken window. The home had no electricity, no drinking water, not even a place to bathe. It reeked of human waste, with the men locked inside. Two people identified as the home's caretakers have been charged with elderly abuse and false imprisonment. Leaders of the Miami Grand Prix are revving up controversy with a proposal to move the race out of downtown Miami. Organizer Ralph Sanchez is considering moving the race to North Miami. Property available near FIU can be used year-round as both a racetrack and a test road. Yesterday, Sanchez met with Miami city officials who want him to stay downtown. Channel 4 has stayed on top of a corruption investigation into Metro-Dade Air Rescue since its leader committed suicide earlier this year. Bob Apte killed himself when news of the investigation was made public. But now federal investigators say he will likely be completely exonerated. Apte's boss, Fire Chief Gene Perry, told Channel 4 investigators have found no evidence to warrant criminal charges. The Food and Drug Administration has given its approval to a new AIDS test that delivers results in just 10 minutes. Developed by the Murex Corporation, it is proven to be 99% accurate in clinical studies. Current tests used for screening HIV take several days to process. And finally, okay, get your pens and your pencils ready. If your son is a terror, he might be perfect for a new Hollywood film. Producers of Dennis the Menace are casting the title role from videotape auditions sent from all across the country. Candidates must be boys from 5 to 7, of medium height and weight. Now, if you want your child considered, you can send a videotape no longer than 5 minutes and a picture of the boy to Dennis the Menace, casting office, Warner Brothers, 4000 Warner Boulevard in Burbank, California. The zip code there is 91522, and filming is scheduled to begin this summer in Chicago. Bob, I don't know about your son. I mean, he doesn't have blonde hair, but he certainly has, his father is a terror, so I'm sure that he's a little mischievous.
Wait a minute. Aren't you always going to think, Susan, of Jane North when you think of Dennis the Menace?
I will. I know I will.
Yeah, with the reruns on, I mean, you didn't even have to be around then. I mean, Dennis the Menace is Jane North. They didn't make it with a new Lone Ranger. That didn't work. But they sure made it with a new Batman, didn't they?
Well, they're going to. Well, they did for the first one. We have to see the second one.
Yeah.
Same guy.
Yeah, but the same. We got to see the same result. The first one caused a sensation. I don't know about the second one. We're going to have to wait to see that.
We shall see.
We shall
anyway,
see.
The summertime is a time for hot new releases at the box office, but it's also the time when big hits from Christmas make it to the video stores.
Steve Martin, Macaulay Culkin, and Bette Midler are just some of the big-name stars who have films coming out this week. And Mark Ricemeal has a complete rundown. Let's watch.
So, Dad, stop it. Say something.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Dad, I met a man in Rome, and he's wonderful and brilliant, and we're getting married.
Steve Martin plays a father who just can't believe his not-so-little girl is getting married. However, the trauma of giving up his daughter to another man takes a back seat when he is engulfed by wedding preparations and a wedding planner played by Martin Short.
Well, what is that? Is that dollars? $1,200?
This is a very reasonable price for a cake of this magnitude.
A cake, Frank, is made of flour and water. My first car didn't cost $1,200.
Welcome to the 90s, Mr. Pong.
Father of the Bride is a very sentimental, funny comedy well worth seeing. Diane Keaton and Kimberly Williams co-star in this PG-rated film.
Going to Hollywood to live with the Brady Bunch. I want to live with them, too. No, you can't. They have enough kids. You'll have to live with the Partridge Family.
My Girl is a comedy drama set in a small town in 1972. It was hyped as featuring Macaulay Culkin, but the real star here is little Anna Klumsky. She plays a young girl living with her widower father, a mortician played by Dan Aykroyd. Their lives get complicated when he hires free-spirited makeup artist Jamie Lee Curtis.
I've been trying to get out to Hollywood for years to do makeup for all the movie stars, but I haven't gotten there yet. All right. Open your eyes.
Shelley, I would definitely hold off on that Hollywood thing.
This movie deals with a variety of topics, including tragedy and death. It's an excellent film, but I wouldn't recommend it for smaller children. My Girl is rated PG.
I want some hugging at the key, some hugging at the
The drama For the Boys traces the complex, decades-long relationship between two performers played by Bette Midler and James Caan.
What is it with you? Soon they're going to be shoving dirt on our face. It's going to be too late. You're going to look back and say, me and Eddie, we could have been beautiful together.
It really works when you talk to people like this.
For the Boys is rated R. That's your video wrap-up. I'm Mark Retchmel for NBC News.
You want to tell
and
them about Jay
by the way,
North?
yes, Jay North, we understand, will be making a cameo appearance on the new Dennis the Menace movie.
And guess what? Walter Matthau, we have been told, has already been cast as Mr. Wilson.
He is perfect
Gotta be
for that
perfect.
part.
Perfect casting.
And you could play Dennis the Menace.
If he were to dye his hair blonde.
Well, we'll be back in a couple of minutes, and we're going to find out why Florida is the capital of consumer crime.
And we will also find out how you can avoid getting taken when Live at 11 comes right back.
Great balls of fire, it's Bob's Pianos and Organs Red Hot Piano Sale. This is it, the biggest sale of the year with savings of 20 to 50% off everything in stock. Famous name brand pianos and organs backed by Bob's 35 years of doing business. Now's the time to buy the piano or organ you've been dreaming of at once-in-a-lifetime savings. And take advantage of Bob's Lifetime Lessons program. Don't miss Bob's Pianos and Organs Red Hot Piano Sale. Going on now at all locations, Miami, Hollandale, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach.
She's a former Playboy bunny. She's the mother of a 7-year-old daughter. She's also ranked the #1 professional woman billiards player. On the next Entertainment Tonight, meet the hottest women playing in today's pool rooms.
You're not just playing by yourself in a corner of a pool room anymore. You're actually out there performing.
Like this former heroin addict who says shooting pool kept her off the streets.
I picked up the game pretty quick.
They're the women of pool, and you'll hear their inside stories only on Entertainment Tonight.
Entertainment Tonight, 7:30 on Channel 4 after A Current Affair.
Charged with possession of cocaine, marijuana, and grand theft.
From small-time felons to attempted murderers.
We're letting people out who are dangerous people.
Former criminals are sent back out to our streets within hours after their arrests, without bond, for free. Can you believe this?
Clearly, it's shocking.
Many of these people never come back. They disappear along with their crimes. Tom Randalls investigates the Dade County pretrial release system. What he uncovered will scare you. Watch Get Out of Jail Free tonight at 6 on Channel 4 News.
Well, Janice Lieberman is a consumer reporter for CNBC, the Consumer News and Business Channel, which now includes what used to be FNN. She is a familiar face, at least to me she is. Now, it's not the only cable channel devoted entirely to money matters, but this time you're here in South Florida, not just to talk about money matters, to talk about crime, consumer fraud, and unfortunately we are the consumer fraud capital of the world. Kind of dubious title. I don't know how we earn that.
But you have great weather, but you also have a hotbed of scams down
Unfortunately.
here. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us what you're down here for?
Sure. Well, the name of our show is Steals and Deals, so we go after scams and rip-offs. And one of the reasons we're down here is, you know, those winning postcards. I'm sure you get them.
I get them. Everybody gets them.
Yeah, your stage manager just told me that she got one, a Hawaii giveaway, but she was smart enough because she realized that it said a 1-900, and you're already losing money. Your prize isn't free anymore because you're spending money. But worse than that is a lot of people do fall for these scams. And we interviewed one couple who had a vacation from hell. They actually were promised a $99 trip to the Bahamas, so they went.
Sounds too good to be true than it is.
That's our tagline. But $500 later, it cost them $500 for this trip. They got down there. The room was decrepit. It was leaking.
God.
The security guard, Terry, was shot while they were in the hotel. There was a murder in the hotel. I mean, this was the worst vacation.
Do you find that because we do have a big elderly population, that there are many companies down here that are targeting them?
Oh,
scamming the elderly?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the elderly are prey in any city, but in South Florida you have, more than most cities have. And, plumbing scams, home improvement scams, they all target the elderly. And it's very upsetting. Jack Atherton and I work very closely on scams, and he's terrific. I mean, you're lucky to have Jack around, and we sometimes interview one half of the story, and he picks up the rest of the story down here in Florida. So we switch tapes, and we do joint investigations. So
this couple, by the way, that went to the Bahamas, how are you helping them?
Well, what we're doing is we're going to visit this company tomorrow in South Florida. Now, we're not going to say
the name.
We're not going to say the name
in case they're watching.
In case they're watching, it's going to be a surprise ambush interview. I don't think they're going to be very happy to see us, Terry. No.
What are some things that people should look out for and that should automatically set off something and say, wait a minute, this sounds too good to be true?
Exactly. I mean, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And that's the way we end our program every night. But the telemarketers are very sophisticated these days, and their pitches are very convincing, and they have your name all over the postcards, and you really think, hey, I'm looking at this, it looks pretty legit. And by the time, of course, you go for one of these things, they go out of business and they change names and can never be found. I mean, what you have in Florida, boiler rooms full of people just on phones, they never get caught.
Is it on the rise here?
Well, you know, you have a telemarketing new law that's gone into effect in Florida, and it's just not working. They're using the loopholes in these laws to conduct business and to continue their shady deals. So we're going to talk to the Attorney General tomorrow and find out why this law isn't protecting consumers.
I mean, what's a consumer to do? For example, this couple, they're promised something. They're, $500 later when they were told it was $99, and on top of it, quite a horrible experience.
And
what are they to do? What can someone like that do? You report it to
the Attorney General in the area, the Better Business Bureau in the area. You write to the company, but you hope. I mean, the money's lost, and you have to realize that it sounds too good to be true. It probably is, and that you're stuck, and that you should just hang up on these telemarketers. Throw this junk mail in the garbage.
Are there any other red flags that we should be looking at besides the obvious, if it sounds too good, then it is?
When it says free gift and you end up paying anything for it. They say if you order $500 worth of vitamins, let's say on the phone, they'll send you a free gift. Well, it's not free because you're overpaying for the vitamins. If you have to spend any money, it's not a gift anymore. Nobody gets something for nothing these days, although it's very tempting and we all want to get quick turnover on our money.
Is there any one particular kind of scam you find here in South Florida much more prevalent than in other areas of the country?
We're finding a lot of these boiler rooms being operated. Now, they don't bother you guys that much. They concentrate on the people away from Florida. They're not giving you a free Florida vacation to Disney World. You wouldn't go for that. So they're contacting us, also Nevada and California. So you may be getting some postcards from those areas with free vacations to Hawaii, let's say. And it's very hard to catch up with these guys, and it's hard to get your money back once you do.
So always be on the lookout. Be a little skeptical about something that's a giveaway or just sounds too good.
Exactly. On our show also we give out discount numbers, so we don't do only bad deals, and if you want any numbers on how to get towels cheap or golf clubs, Steals and Deals is the place to go.
Okay, well, Janice, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck. Good luck tomorrow.
And don't
for
tell
the rest
them
of
who
your
they
stay. No. How long are you going to be here, by the way?
Just for the end of the week.
Okay, enjoy your stay. You have great weather.
Thanks.
Well, Janice Lieberman's reports can be seen on CNBC, the business cable channel, and you can check your local cable or satellite guide to find out where you can tune in. And thanks again for joining us. All right. Well, still more live at 11 to come. We'll go traveling through the Caribbean with a cookbook. Bob is going to look over Caribbean cuisine. And we'll also find out what the weather looks like around the nation as Live at 11 continues right after this.
Did you know the energy saved by recycling just one aluminum can power a TV for 3 hours? Imagine the resources you can save by recycling glass, plastics, newspaper, office paper. Buy recycled. Recycle what you buy. Recycling is a breeze. Call the Broward County Recycling Hotline at 978-1150.
Sundays at Calder are made for the family. There's a petting zoo, pony rides, the Moonwalk Bounce House, live music, and for big kids, Calder's new family area has its own betting windows and TV monitors, so you won't miss a minute of racing action. Sundays at Calder. Get your face painted, listen to live music, and watch the races. Gates open at 11. Festivities start at noon.
This Sunday, free floating neck toads go to the first 100 kids entering the park.
Todd had a crush on Missy, the girl next door, but he showed it in the strangest way. He stepped out on his front porch wearing only his birthday suit.
I could tell he was naked.
Missy knew just what to do. Her mom had won on America's Funniest Home Videos, so she got her video camera and got Todd's love pose on tape. Then she called police. Missy had caught him with his pants down. The Naked Romeo on Hard Copy.
Hard Copy, 4:30 on Channel 4. After Now It Can Be Told with Geraldo Rivera.
Did you know that an estimated 1,200 people will die from leukemia this year in Florida alone? I'm Ileana Bravo. Channel 4 invites corporations and individuals to help find a cure for leukemia by dressing down for a day. Participate and you'll receive one of these buttons. Wear it on June 12th and show your support for this worthy cause. Call these numbers and become a sponsor.
Friday Night Live is back. Channel 4 wants you to grab your beach blankets and come out to South Point Park. This week, the music of Lennon and McCartney. Get back.
Well, Bob, you said it was going to be a hot and humid weekend for us. How about the rest of the nation?
Well, we're going to take a look at that. And speaking of hot and humid, remember we had Sentimental Journey Jazz Band here?
We did.
A little while ago. They're playing tonight. They're youngsters, 13 to 18. They play music of the 40s, 50s, and 60s. They'll be at the Shriners in Deerfield Beach tonight. If you can get down there, they're really terrific. Speaking of terrific, our weather compared to what's going on has been terrific. Let's take a look at this, what's happening around the country. Take a look at the Northeast. These are high temperatures for today. Now, early this morning, there were 30s and 40s. Chicago was 35. They'll warm up to about 65 degrees. Look at New York, only 60 degrees. Syracuse, 60. Their morning temperatures were in the 50s. And over the southeast, well, you get the normal trend. But even Atlanta, for 75 degrees, that's really not too bad. As you get down to Orlando, they're going to have a high of 88 degrees. Dallas, 74. They're getting pummeled all through Texas right now with very heavy showers and thunderstorms and a good deal of damage being done. They just haven't had any relief from the bad weather there. Phoenix, 94. Denver, look at that temperature at Denver, 57 degrees. 73 at Salt Lake. Great Falls, 64. So if you look around the country, you can see all the cool temperatures. If you're traveling, you're going to have to take sweaters and jackets for the early morning hours almost every place you go, but that's going to change. And one other thing, it is hurting some of the crops around the country because some of the temperatures in areas you haven't even heard about around Kansas and Nebraska, they've had temperatures like 28 and 29 degrees for early morning readings, and that really
it's really low for this time of the year.
It's hurting some of the wheat and other things up there. But that's about it. We're going to have nice weather, and there's not much change. 90 degrees, you know.
Hot and humid.
Okay. That's about
Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
Are you in the mood for some Caribbean cooking?
Oh, yummy.
Okay, let's see what Bob Mayer has to say. Bob?
No one needs to tell us in South Florida how colorful the Caribbean is. We feel its influence in every aspect of our lives. And a new cookbook called Cooking Caribe captures the essence of the islands. Its author, Christopher Adone, joins us this morning live at 11. And welcome.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
We're just fine. I hope you're the same. You have brought more than just a book, and I guess you've done that to illustrate what you put in the book.
Well, this is the perfect place to do it because I think Florida has virtually everything that the Caribbean has to offer in terms of fresh fruit and vegetables. And I also feel that in addition to Florida, we've also got the rest of the country. This stuff is really making an impact, and it has in the past couple of, I'd say the past year, actually, especially with the influx of the Caribbean population that's pouring into here, New York, etc.
Talk about color. It's a beautifully, colorfully illustrated book.
It's a fun book. It really is. I think what we set out to do, we achieved, and that was to sort of give you a flavor of the Caribbean without it looking, like a brochure to
yeah, and there appears to be more than just recipes in here. I mean, it appears to be some
well, we gave you a story really about the people, about the food, about the folklore. I think what is happening is that people, especially Americans, love going down to the Caribbean, and so few of them really, in this sort of economic crunch, so to speak, they're carrying their fantasies out at home and entertaining at home, and I hope they're going to use this book to do it.
Well, now, in addition to the fun, what kind of specifics are we likely to find in here?
Well, what you're going to have is authentic food, but by that I mean all the authentic food. The influence is extraordinary down there. You've got the Spanish influence, the Dutch influence, the French influence, the African influence. This all comes into play, but what I've done is to take it and pare it down. I've taken out a lot of the fat, and I've also, for example, they have a tendency to overcook things down there, for example, the fish. So we're doing it very light, and we're using all these tropical vegetables.
Let's point out some specifics.
Well, I mean, what has almost become commonplace is the mangoes, papayas, Merlotins or shyote, which is a kind of squash and really is a crossover between a squash. That's tamarind.
What is this? Now, one of our stage managers, Sarah, said that this is a very, very sour.
It's very sour. You would not want to, put one of those pods in your mouth, I promise you.
So what would you use that for?
What you use it for is to flavor sauces. And you break the pod. They're very, very sticky. You take this pod out, as you can see. You can see how much, it's almost like a date. And then you mash it, and it goes
bad
in.
date.
No, a good date, a fresh date. And of course, plantains, which of course are used in many, many guises. I mean, they're used as chips. They're used in various appetizers. They're rolled with mixtures of minced fish or meat and so forth.
All right, I got a question. What's the difference between this may sound silly, but what is the difference between a plantain and a banana?
Well, it's the same family, but a banana you can eat sweet. I mean, it becomes sweet as it ripens. These do not become sweet. If they get a little yellower or even blacker, they will take on a sweetness, but they are always cooked.
Okay.
You can't eat them raw.
These look like hot peppers.
They are peppers from hell. They really are. They're incredible, and the colors do not affect the degree of hotness.
So they're all hot: yellow, red, orange, whatever.
It's called a Scotch bonnet pepper, and it's used predominantly throughout the French West Indies, and it gives an extraordinary flavor. You either chop it up and really give a wallop. You control it, and that's the great thing about this book. It is not like, for example, doing French cooking where you have to be totally exact. You can take liberties with these recipes.
Are all of these items that we're looking at here available right here in South Florida?
Right here in South Florida, yes.
At a typical supermarket?
At a typical, well, yes, absolutely, yeah. I mean, first of all, I did a tour of the markets yesterday, and I did South Beach, I did Miami Beach, I went up to Little Havana, I went to Little Haiti. It's all there. It doesn't require a great stretch of the imagination to ferret out this stuff.
One of my favorite old things here is sugar cane.
Well, that's being grown down here in Dade County, and also it's very, very popular. They make a drink out of it. I don't get really into sugar cane in the book. In fact, as I said, if I took out the fat, I'm going to take out some of the sugar. It is not a diet book. It's just meant to be a fun book.
Right. Mostly dessert-type foods, or what do you
I've covered the whole thing. There's a big influence of salted codfish, so we do a lot of fritters. We do heart of palm fritters. We do salads that incorporate a lot of this sort of exotic vegetables, as well as smoked fish. We have wonderful meat stews, beef stews, goat stews, rabbit stews, soups, very healthy soups that incorporate coconut milk, which you can either prepare the coconut yourself, or you can buy unsweetened in the supermarket. That's very easy. We don't want to get mix that up with a rum cocktail drink. I've got a lot of rum drinks in it, and a lot of sort of what they like fizz drinks down there, and non-alcoholic drinks. So there are a lot of fruit drinks in there.
Christopher Doan, thank you very much for joining us today live at 11. Now, his book again is called Cooking Carib, and it is available at local bookstores everywhere.
Thank you, Bob. And the book, as Bob said, is available, and it will hit the bookstores June 1st. A lot of exotic cooking.
Makes you want to eat the book,
Here you go.
Thank you.
Well, coming up, the moment Maria Asplund has been waiting for, the grand unveiling. And this is Maria, the way she looked. There she is about 2 hours ago. And in just a moment, we're going to compare this picture with her brand new look. Don't go away.
Right now at Walgreens, dads and grads are at the top of the list. Express how you feel with Hallmark. Walgreens has the perfect Hallmark card for your dad or grad. You'll want to take pictures. New Kodak Gold Plus bonus packs include 12 extra exposures and a coupon to get one of the rolls processed free. And bring in your film and get a second set of regular size prints for 99 cents. Super size just $1.69. When it comes to your dad or grad, put Walgreens at the top of your list.
Who makes the world's greatest hamburger?
We interrupt this commercial to make this important announcement. Fuddruckers presents the Fuddrucker Value Combo. Get the world's greatest 1/2 pound hamburger. Make it the way you want it, along with fries and large soft drink with free refills for only $4.99 for a limited time only. So hurry. We now return you to our regularly scheduled commercial in progress.
Who makes the world's greatest hamburgers? Fuddruckers. Fuddruckers and you. Fuddruckers.
What does it take to be the world's most popular musical? It takes a cast of extraordinary characters, caught up in the hope and glory of an unforgettable story. It takes heart-stopping music, soul-stirring passion, and the triumph of the human spirit. But mostly, it takes the love of people everywhere. The people who come to see it again and again. Les Miserables.
Coming to the Broward Center for the Performing Arts, June 2nd through the 13th. Tickets on sale now.
This is where I live. There are lots of doctors and machines for me and the other kids. Last week, a guy named Mike came. He took us all on a camping trip.
Mike gives up a weekend a month to help a disabled child, but he gets back a feeling that lasts forever.
When I get better, you know what? I'm going to take Mike fishing.
To find out what you can do in your community, call the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
Welcome back. And a Wednesday here means midweek makeover. And today's model says she's been watching us on Live at 11 since we got started way back in October. Her name is Maria Esplund, and she's from North Miami.
Now, Maria wrote asking us to add a few years to her appearance. So with the help of the folks at Salona Rouge, here's Maria before and after. Wow. You look terrific,
Thank
lady.
you.
Welcome
I like
to
it.
the show. You
Thank
like
you.
it?
Yes, I do. I like it very much.
It isn't often we get a woman in here who wants to look older.
That's probably true. That's probably true. I'm still accused of being 16, though.
I think this looks
so that's
beautiful.
hard.
And forget the age. I mean, you look terrific. And
Thank
this
you.
is, I love the color. Tamara, what did you do?
The color looks great. Erica did the color. She just warmed it up. I think more than age, because age isn't really an issue these days. She just looks more polished.
She does.
Pulled together. And she has tons and tons and tons of hair.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, you can always cut it off, you know what I mean?
But we layered it a great deal to just create, a lot more movement. It just doesn't, lay there anymore. She had a bi-level cut, so in a sense we did correct her.